Early in the morning, the two brothers seemingly got out as a person could be heard ringing the doorbell. Yuto seems nervous as he insists on opening up the door for the visitor as it's probably his friend. His brother Kai brushed this off, which shortly after Yuto advises his so-called friend to be quiet as it would be troublesome if he found out. Only for this friend to turn out a woman that seems a bit in distress. The two went up into Yuto's room. Seemingly she breathes heavily, heading towards his bed, but is stopped by Yuto for a moment. He suddenly urges her to pay for the service he offered. She understood and quickly abide to his demands of holding hands, although she questions him a lot of the times for asking too little. Yuto and Akira is now holding hands. As she got up close to the walls trying to listen in on his older brother, it is then revealed that Akira-san is an ex-girlfriend of his big brother, ultimately got dumped due to her overbearing personality. Although she couldn't seem to give up on him, it led to the situation where Yuto, being Kai's little brother, she uses her weakness to her advantage, which is his crush on Akira. Despite being used like this, he ponders twice as she is both trash and the person he likes the most currently. His phone suddenly buzzed with a text as Kai seems to take a break from studying and ponders if he would like something. This ultimately led Akira to follow his footsteps closely and gaze from afar. She then nervously questions if she really isn't allowed to put a listening device to Kai's room. Yuto jolted up in anger, shouting that crimes aren't allowed even if she asks 1,000 times already. It would burden his older brother and not forgive her for her actions. She then pointed out his trashy personality of letting her in and give in to her demands just to flirt with her, despite that he loves his brother dearly. He immediately became in distress as this is the reason why he is in big trouble. Shortly after, she ponders of getting a message from Kai. On the flip side, she got blocked on everything, being jealous of their closeness. Meanwhile, his brother Kai got back after going to the convenience store. Seemingly, he noticed something, the pair of shoes missing from the front. The two inside discussed quietly of Kai's whereabouts. They suddenly got startled as a knock could be heard, as Kai seemingly wondered about Yuto's friend not being here, thinking his friend left already, which Yuto decided to use an excuse, smoothly talking his way out of the situation. Although he ponders of being too optimistic, as he knows his brother wouldn't notice as he didn't look, he tried telling him about being too overprotective, asking not to come knocking on his door every time just to check on him, which his brother seemed to understood and left him. Upon closing shut the door, he announces that she could come out of the closet, but didn't get any response. He then checked on her, which she immediately fell out of the closet, landing on him. She then exclaims getting a nosebleed upon hearing his brother Kai's words, giving her the euphoria she is craving for. This made Yuto get a nosebleed, as suddenly his phone gave out a notification, making him hurry as his brother questions the loud bang noise that could be heard from earlier. He cleaned up the mess, but is surprised as Akira is panicking, exclaiming that her back seems to be broken, leading up to a messy situation, although in the end he managed to cover it all up, but is worried he might need more serious countermeasures. In school, the two also followed up one another, where Yuto could be seen showing Akira a funny photo of his older brother. Akira immediately insisted on buying the photo from him. He then insisted of just letting him pat her head, as the photo was sent. The done deal of flirting with her started. Seemingly the two benefited from this transaction, showcasing their happiness. Afterwards, Akira was questioning about the pose they did inside the photo, as it awfully looks familiar, like the action figure in his closet. As the two were walking, they managed to stumble upon his older brother, shocking them both, looking like they've seen a ghost. Kai, on the other hand, seems distressed seeing them both together. He questions their behavior together, wondering the reason. Yuto used the excuse of coincidentally bumping into each other, pointing out it's not weird as they are acquainted to one another. But Kai isn't sold on this, and it's weird considering the reason he broke up and distanced himself. Apparently Akira was the same person that kept on calling him dead at night around the clock, leaving it unanswered, but this action of his resulted in Akira coming to their house dead of the night, crying and screaming outside of their gate. The commotion caused the entire family to be awoken by the noise as she kept crashing outside, yelling her apologetic behavior, asking to not leave her alone. Yuto clearly remembered this but brushed it off as Kai pointed out having feelings for him before. Letting go of the pathetic behavior she did, but although upon a glance at her, his life became more peaceful since then of breaking up and to not provoke her again. Seemingly Akira is acting weird again, suddenly mumbling to herself. As she uttered the words of getting wet and being flustered in front of him. Her actions struck the heart of Yuto looking at her, as he suddenly fell in love again with her. On the other hand, his big brother is not sold on her words and actions, showing disgust. She ultimately ran away from the situation, leaving Kai to question on how did he even go out with her in the first place. He also warned Yuto to not get involved with her at this point. Yuto left alone ponders of how hopeless but also how cute she was, which he couldn't leave her alone at this point. Shortly after, Yuto is troubled as he doesn't know what to do anymore. With the fact that they both got spotted together, there was no other way to cover it up. He ponders of asking Akira-san as to restrain herself, but this would seemingly not work as she exploded upon the sighting of his brother. He also realized the truth that Akira doesn't have the slightest pulse in her, and it's best to give up on her already. Pointing things would be better if he rejected her, although he knows this, he can't seem to do it in the first place. We got interrupted as the president seemingly gets called out for being unattentive, but is saved by Yuto, although she doesn't seem fond of his actions. But they suddenly got saved the bell, where the teacher seemingly noticed Yuto's action earlier. As the class ended, Akira was sitting down outside when the class president seemingly shouted Yuto's name, confusing him as she exclaims being grateful for trying to help her. With her stern look, she got near him and pointed out her responsibility to accomplish it as class president, asking him to go ahead and spend his recess. Yuto seemed to understand her feelings and insisted they both work together, showing that these two might have some nice chemistry, leaving Akira to look at them with envy. After school, as Yuto was going home, he suddenly got grabbed by a woman in a random alley, shocking Yuto. He exclaims being scared and surprised as it is Akira all along. He pointed out that they both should lay low as they already been discovered earlier, but she seems to not be worried about that and is more concerned on him hanging out with the class president, showcasing that he's not interested in her anymore, making Akira to cry as she will stop trading with her anymore, puzzling Yuto as he doesn't seem to understand her words. After a brief explanation, she seemed to calm down, as she apparently thought they were dating. He then exclaims of needing things to cool down, but he suddenly gets kissed in the hand as Akira tried showing a cute face as explaining she can't control herself and needed his help just as much he helped her until now. With this, he finally became a simp to his brother's ex-girlfriend, labeling himself as a trash person also, even though he was only like second. We are now then showed the past as Yuto is seemingly into cartoons where the hero saves the day in school as the bell rang. He noticed a bunch of bullies ganging up on a fellow classmate. This prompted him to have the idea of not leaving the Troubles home kid alone. He then confronts them, asking to not force their classmates. They seemingly agreed, but the tide turns as they had the bright idea of making Yuto play the game himself. Shortly after school, as Kai was bidding farewell to his friends, he noticed his little brother in the playground all drenched with his head down. He questions if he's not going home, pointing out their parents will be worried. He then suddenly questioned the person behind his condition, as it doesn't seem like he did something wrong to deserve this. He crouched down, promising not to tell anyone if he revealed the situation. Yuto was all along saving the kid in trouble instead of asking for a grown-up's intervention. Praising his cool actions, he suddenly cried with tears. Kai seemed to understood the situation and step up as his big brother, using his upperclassman powers to take care of it. This suddenly turned him into a gangster, as he muttered silently, giving the kids a little scared. As the week passed by, the kids who previously wronged Yuto apologized to him. In disbelief, he didn't suspect his brother of doing anything, but with the big change in attitude, he questions his brother's way on how he managed to handle the situation. In the end, Kai didn't fully reveal his ways of doing so, but he politely asked them and totally not warn them with force. From that point on, Yuto's world is now filled with two heroes, one being his brother. But then 6 years later, he couldn't have been prepared, as he woke up seeing his brother bringing home his girlfriend, showcasing the clingy and obsessive Akira being their first encounter. This sudden revelation left them in silence, and without the need to introduce to their parents, leaving Yuto to understood the situation. He embarrassingly left, and excused himself, making Akira beam with light as the two were left alone. Although he found her to be his type, showing the type of cuteness he preferred, he liked her so much that he freaked out and left. Although his brother had girlfriends in the past, this one is completely different, and he wishes them the best, but to also be married one day. But as 2 weeks later passed by, he stumbled upon his brother leaving early. He teases him of going out with Akira, but he revealed breaking up with her due to being overbearing. This shocked Yuto, as he couldn't believe the words that came to him. In the school's top floor, Yuto is still remembering the kindness Akira showed to him. He ponders of liking the way she looks and her oddities being offset, but add to that his brother and Akira didn't broke up with her on good terms. Although he knows this, he still seems bothered by all this, not having his head wrapped around the whole situation. Above the school, he saw his brother chatting with his friends. As they left, Akira is seen being a creepy weirdo stalker, smelling his brother's scent from the bench. This made Yuto confront Akira, questioning her behavior, as she looked like a stalker. But even if that's the case, she exclaims of seeing Kai as her one and only hero and is willing to offer her life to him. Her words made Yuto see her even more attractive. He pointed out her behavior resulting their separation, but she is still hopeful as it's their first breakup. He then asks her to skip class, confronting her that he wanted to help her. He questions if they will ever get back together. She seemed to get the idea that it's hopeless, but right now she seems obsessed, as she will do everything to get back together, being confident she could match Kai's preference of a dream girl. She doesn't care no matter how many years it takes, as long as she achieves her goal. He ponders if she would just stalk him, pointing out that rumors might spread and it won't be good for his brother's reputation. She then exclaims if he could plant a listening device on his brother's room, but he immediately refused. With how hopeless the situation is, he doesn't want to become an accomplice, and it would be stressful if his brother ever found out. She then pointed out if he truly doesn't care, why didn't he reveal anything to his brother, let alone her stalking. She then wondered if he's being kind, or he likes her in a way. Those words made Yuto blush heavily in silence, leaving Akira surprised. As he sat down, revealing his love for her even if she seems messed up. But his willingness to give and simping for her, he wanted to help whatever possible way towards her due to the feelings he has for her. In his mind, he sees this as a really crappy way of confessing to someone. Akira suddenly giggled and seemed happy hearing his words. She then exclaims that he should help picking the pieces up of his brother. She insists on knowing more about Kai, pointing out the more information she could gather the better, even more so if he helped out. Although she pointed out his kindness is returned with something, as she doesn't want it to be free. She exclaims the help service she gets, she will offer anything she could. The rewards depends on his desires, and she will respect his feelings as to not cross the lines. With an euphoric face she displayed, she exclaims, making everyone happy as they all get what they want. We then introduce as he woke up heading downstairs, stumbling upon his brother. Seemingly up early in the morning, Kai is seemed to be heading to somewhere. Yuto ponders if he's going out with another different woman this time. But his brother Kai seemed to stop for a second and half-heartedly agreed to his words, leaving Yuto surprised. Later in school, Yuto is also selling videos of his brother to Akira. Seemingly she drools over the sight of him even doing the simplest things. In exchange for the video, he insists on the service of touching her cheeks. His loser behavior towards his brother, and the whole situation seemed selfish as he enjoys this kind of exchange. Although the sudden thought earlier of his brother finding another woman sparks his mind all of a sudden. After school he ponders if Akira already knew the situation. But then again he hasn't heard any rumors of stalking towards his brother, indicating that she really is listening to his words of advice on stopping the stalking behavior. Upon arriving at his seat, he noticed the quiet and shy president reading his favorite book. He shared his opinion and love for the manga, which they seemed to share a common interest but also the similar personality, but her sudden words struck him, which upon the sudden realization he reveals to Akira that his brother already has someone, which he seemed to already know everything. Yuto immediately called Akira, questioning if she's stalking his brother right now. Although she doesn't seem to do so in school, but outside she stalks him, especially after school, by using a disguise. This sudden confession left Yuto worried, as she has been taking it far all this time. Akira sounds confident even if she get caught, although she won't do it if she did ever get found. She describes herself as a detective, but Yuto label her as not a respectable character, let alone personality-wise is overbearing and is crazy. She pointed out that those professions do something for an objective or interest, exclaiming she is just the same just to achieve her goal. As she watched her afar from her ex, Akira doesn't care if Kai already got a woman beside her right at this moment, or how many women he would have. As in the end, if she ever gets to have him, it would fulfill her goal and doesn't care about the obstacles, showcasing her true personality also being one of the main reasons that Kai left her. Her words made Yuto realize his mistake, as Akira is apparently not just any other woman, but a deranged and crazy person that would do anything to get what she wants. She even gets more crazier, as she doesn't mind sharing the good stuff, even thinking of getting close with his girlfriend. Later that night, Kai gets home, who isn't welcome that much as his mother just passed by, half-heartedly leaving him to ponder. Noises suddenly could be heard from the kitchen as Yuto is making coffee, offering his brother, as he lay tired on the couch. The two discussed as he seemingly smiled as his phone. Yuto noticed this, grinning of his, questioning his date if he had fun. Kai explains enjoying their bonding as his girlfriend and him seem to have good chemistry going on. This left Yuto speechless, questioning if he's not going to end their relationship on such short notice. Kai explains it's different this time, as he wants this to last for a long time. This left Yuto to see his brother finally be serious on his new relationship. But he then suddenly remembers Akira and what would happen with her from now on. Kai suddenly showed his little brother a message containing his favorite hero on it. This made Yuto happy, seeing someone like his girlfriend got some good taste. Kai suggests they would get along just fine, insisting of introducing him to her next time. Yuto suddenly seemed nervous, pointing out as he would garner hatred if his girlfriend got excited over a hobby or interest with some other guy. His words stunned Kai for a moment, but with a calm demeanor he doesn't seem to care much or mind it, as he doesn't really have interest in it in the first place. But for him, he sees his little brother just like a hero. Yuto is puzzled, questioning this, but Kai didn't seem to answer this and just laughed it off. Yuto is still pondering his words and his brother's image towards him. Shortly after he met up with Akira, wanting to talk seriously, he confronts her of drawing the line. Although he wants to help her gather more information about his brother's new GF, he put up a condition of drawing the line. She seemed to not get his words, asking to explain as such. Yuto doesn't want Akira to contact his brother's girlfriend in any way, shape, or form, only willing to help her and G forward if she ever stick with that condition. This made Akira look troubled. She panics, questioning his decisions as she can't seem to bring her to do that. Yuto revealed that his brother is serious this time and doesn't want to intervene with their compatibility. With this in mind, he doesn't want her to get in between of that way. Her crazy personality and deranged side suddenly came up, as Yuto doesn't want her to also destroy their relationship no matter what. Akira stood silently looking fierce as she silently sat looking at him. Yuto became nervous, although he shares his mind a bit, as it might be a good idea for her to fit into remodeling herself to fit his brother's dream girl, pointing out she could use this for her plan. Yuto still is selfish by supporting her and simping towards her behavior. Although Akira agrees and asks that Yuto has to do his best in order for the conditions to be met, and get really close to the new girlfriend or else she might lose her self-control. She then suddenly leans and whispering on his ears, teasing his simp personality. Akira ponders that he still seemed to be in love with her, acting all sympathetic towards her situation, giving the idea of protecting everyone, labeling him as a hero, pondering that he's nothing but a gross person anyways, indicating once again her yandere and deranged behavior, but also crap thinking. The day finally arrived as Yuto waited in the courtyard, which a loud voice suddenly could be heard calling out for him. As the one who loves Persona, the manga they both liked, she introduced herself as Nagano Shion, exclaiming her radiant and extrovert personality. Shion sat down right next to him, questioning if he watched this week's Skeleton, pointing out the cartoon. Being a first-gen fan, he immediately gets intrigued. The two immediately became enthusiastic, talking about their favorite cartoon, finding compatibility towards their hobbies and passion. They then shook hands, coming to an agreement, being happy as they seemingly found someone with the same love for their interest. Yuto suddenly noticed his older brother looking, which he apologizes of being too excited. The bell soon rang, leaving Shion unsatisfied as she hasn't met anyone in real life who she could comfortably talk about her hobbies out in the open. Yuto also felt the same, which Shion suggested going out to a cafe collab Sunday. Yuto loves the idea but worries his brother's schedule might not align, but he instead got insisted of going alone with Shion. This shocked Yuto, seeing the boundary between them. Shion seems confused, pondering if Yuto is a bit childlike. He suddenly gets embarrassed, exclaiming of not having a girlfriend, questioning if he's the one in wrong, although in the end he decided of going, leaving the two to understand his frustrations. The day suddenly arrives where we see Shion and Yuto bidding farewell, asking to see sometime again. He felt happy but also got a bad feeling about this kind of setup in a weird way. Akira suddenly revealed herself from the shadows. She exclaims the two having different senses of values, suggesting that his brother and Shion is why they probably are a good match for one another. Yuto apologizes of being thankful as they didn't talk about his brother and their love life much. It's then revealed that Akira was watching from the side, observing them all along, pointing out that she was a really good reference, being thankful for Yuto following through. Shortly into the past 6 hours before, Yuto is seen meeting up with Akira, discussing the sudden change of plans. As he seemed to set up a different kind of close-up, she questions what does she owe him, asking if he wants an advance service payment. This sudden thought made him look a bit frustrated and gloomy. But in the end she decided to grab him and kissed his neck, referencing to the cartoon named Persona, having a moon on the neck. Later that night at home, Yuto was showering, where Kai is looking at the text messages from his dad sending them allowance. Yuto suddenly got out and welcomed his brother. Kai suddenly revealed going home early due to withdrawing a losing tournament. This made Yuto worried and shouts his concerns, especially with his girlfriend. Yuto immediately pointed out that he shouldn't hide these things, especially it would make her mad if she ever found out he's hiding important events in his life. Kai suddenly see the realization and reason of hiding it, as he didn't want to bother her, although Yuto questions if his brother even values his self-respect. Kai pointed out it's not like that, but is suddenly intrigued by the band-aid on his neck. Yuto suddenly got flustered and excused himself. But Kai looks at this suspiciously, not believing that Yuto is meeting up with a woman if not having a girlfriend. The next day at school, Shion is loudly exclaiming her frustration, as she couldn't believe he had an important event, especially a tournament. Being angry as she shakes him heavily, Shion exclaims even if he was losing she would support him no matter what, even though he didn't win. With no tournaments or practice, they both can go home every day from now on, making Shion a bit happy after all. Shion immediately punched him softly, questioning if he would start going to prep school, suggesting going to college. Kai understood this and is in talks with his father, pointing his good self-discipline as he would probably make time for her, assuring Shion and their relationship to be secured. Shortly after, the two headed down when suddenly Kai mentioned that his little brother's neck was cut by a price tag, mocking him for his weak skin. Kai assured himself as there would be no way that Yuto would betray him, but the sudden realization kicks. As he suddenly remembered Akira was with Yuto that day, giving him discomfort, and the sudden urge to investigate. After school, Yuto was waiting in the usually spot, being troubled as Akira is taking for a while to arrive. He suddenly gets startled as Akira surprised him from the back. Upon a closer look at her, her appearance suddenly changed. She exclaims of getting her hair done, and her eyes droopy, causing for her late arrival. She questions what does Yuto thought of her new look, which he seems to look at her differently this time. Akira seems to suggest that her new looks doesn't suit her, but Yuto revealed that her usual self would be much better, truly showing his love and attraction towards herself. This sudden realization kicks into her, understanding that he views her differently. She explains on going back to her usual self as she just wanted to practice and show off her reference from yesterday. Shortly after the two part ways, he rushed back home flustered as he ponders that Akira will specially go back to her usual self just for him and the service he deserves, causing him to burn up from the idea. Yuto stopped by convenience store but is suddenly surprised by Shion exclaiming that real one, referencing from Akira impersonating her. Kai suddenly intervenes as they both are going to her house afterwards. Shion insists that Yuto should also come by sometime to enjoy preaching their hobbies also. Yuto-san sees this as a good approach towards him and compliments her for being a kind person. Kai on the other hand agrees but notices that the cut on his neck is gone. He then questions if he's going out with anyone weird, surprising Yuto-san. Yuto-san became nervous, wondering what's the sudden question as he declined and reason, although it may be sad but he doesn't have anyone at the moment. Although he ponders in his mind of going on a date with someone who's weird. Kai brushed the idea off, even though Yuto is a bit too honest. He does worries about him most of the time, exclaiming that his girlfriend is a bit harsh sometimes, pointing out that he doesn't notice this. After their short meeting they all parted ways, leaving a few days passed as Akira and Yuto once again met, although it feels like it's been a week since they haven't seen each other. The reason being Akira is once again talking the couple after school, ending their daily meetup. But they see each other once every weekend, which he doesn't mind. Akira suddenly ponders if she is going to pay him today, questioning what does he desires from him. She suggested charging her all at once for the payments. Yuto is embarrassed as he exclaims of having all her payment at once. The simp lord named Yuto closed up on her, but surprisingly his brother was tailgating him the whole time and even watching from afar. He breathes heavily as he already guessed the situation before. He then silently thought to himself that Akira is just a thing for him, and it doesn't deserve his little brother at this point, showcasing his care for him, but also the concern if they ever go forward with this relationship. Shortly after, Akira is happy drooling over the images she got. Yuto is suddenly worried that the hickey he gave her might be seen. She seems to not care much of this as he does, parting ways with him quickly. As she was walking admiring the photos she got, her name suddenly gets called out, causing her to get wet, instantly dropping her phone. Immediately shivering as her voice trembles in excitement, as she looks behind her, the image of Kai stood in front of her, inviting her to have a sit down and talk. She suddenly bursts in excitement, agreeing to his invitation. In the park, Kai suddenly gets straight to the point as she excitedly awaits for his words coming out, but is then met with disappointment as Kai insists he breaks up with Yuto. This left Akira puzzled, questioning his sudden words. Kai pointed out that she was the one who gave a hickey to Yuto. Her eyes suddenly darkened, indicating that he somehow found out by tailing Yuto-kun that day. She then suddenly read the atmosphere, claiming that Kai is one hell of a bro-con for his little brother. Wondering as to how she didn't notice this, she suddenly got the bright idea, pushing that if she became part of their family, Kai would then also love her this way, giving her motivation but also showing a deranged face towards him. Akira suddenly became troubled as she doesn't know what to say towards him, not having the courage to reveal the hickey was part of the payment of exchanging detail of his life. Kai suddenly gets aggressive, holding her shoulders as he questions her again if she's going out with Yuto. She suddenly screamed they are officially going out, leaving Kai in silence for a brief moment. He suddenly ponders if he's imagining that she still acts as if she's still in love with him, and wondering if she is just playing with Yuto. She suddenly became serious, revealing that it wasn't her that got close first but Yuto-kun that day. The first move, she pointed out his cuteness, questioning what's wrong for her to go out with a kid like him who likes her in the first place. She then suddenly stared at him, questioning if he were in love with her truly when they were both still together.